All right. So you were saying earlier that you realize now what Joe is doing is to cause another psyop or to cause more division amongst people.
It looks like more division. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
he's not talking about unity. I'm talking about unity. I'm talking about we as one spirit. We're literally one body, but it looks like we're all separated into different bodies. But he ain't talking about unity. He's just creating more racial divide.
Well, in certain ways, people would argue that he's saying that, you know, in New York, blacks and Puerto Ricans and Latinos in general have always experienced the same hardship, and that's why he believes that they were one together.
Okay, so maybe he is talking about unity. Okay, all right, maybe he is.
But at the same time, I don't think that he chose his words very carefully in talking about this topic, which causes division, and it has caused division if you see the reaction online.
That's probably what it is. He just is not eloquently spoken, you know. I mean, me too. I use words that people, you know, and it's semantics at the end of the day. You can, one word could be could mean something different to somebody else and it triggers them. You know what I mean? So really at the end of the day, you have to catch the spirit and the heart of what people are saying rather than be fucked up by the words, you know? But I mean, he's not wrong when he's saying I'm sorry. It wasn't just blacks, you know?
I think that when you talk about this topic, you have to be very specific. Are we talking about the inception, the exact date and time of this? Or are we talking about contributions along the way? How long does it count as, how many years counts as the inception? How, you know, like there's like, you have to be very specific because not all of it means the same to everybody.
I mean, but who actually knows though? Who kept record and history of specifics and dates and times? And when someone just grabbed inspiration with, you know, some freestyle bars, like, you know?
Well, I think that that was the goal of Tariq Nasheed doing the Microphone Check documentary, right? And that's what I believe upset Fat Joe in a lot of ways because it was going against the 50-50 narrative that he's talking about. But I think the most upsetting thing about this situation with Joe is that, like I said, it has caused more racial division. And now you see in the comments, people are saying all Latinos feel this way about us, or I had this experience happened, you know. And I did an interview with Cuban and he was saying that Latinos need to come out and denounce Fat Joe if they don't believe what he's saying, because people are looking at Joe as, you are the representation for all Latinos. You're the face of it because he's one of the biggest people in hip hop.
I'm sorry. Fat Joe is not even a representation for hip hop. Fuck that motherfucker.
Well, why do you feel that way?
One, he ain't even talented. He's fucking lame. Okay? If you really put him up against Big Pun and Cuban, sonically, tonality, he don't even got it like they do. He's a cornball, right? In his energy, the way he walks, the way he talks, you know, and just being a part of the bullshit music industry and not protecting hip hop and introducing Sexy Red at the BET Hip Hop Awards, being down with Cardi B, who isn't a real fucking rapper, being down with Ice Spice and the destruction of his city and the destruction of his youth.
I think that it's unfair whenever you choose one person to represent an entire group, right? And that group didn't elect him necessarily. But, you know, it's always upsetting when people make blanket statements and put it out there because it's never true. You can't ever say that all people, you know, within this group feel this way. No, you know, no matter what, it's not going to be true, no matter what group you're talking about. You can't, and right now, these comments are becoming very divisive, saying that, you know, all Latinos are this way. Even if you were to change things around and say all black people are this way, it's just not right. It's not true, you know?
No, it's not. You're generalizing, you know, and we do that out of anger and when we're acting in trauma. I've done that before too, you know. I've hated all men at one point, but I realized I had to heal, you know. And even though I'm experiencing a lot of racism from black kids right now, that's not all black people. You know what I mean? So I have enough wisdom to know that even though there's a large number of them, especially coming at me for talking against music that's murdering their people, I have to have enough wisdom to understand, like, okay, it's just a certain people in a certain, and I don't even look at people in color. It's consciousness out here. Yeah. Okay. You know what? There are levels. We're all at different levels. There are, not everyone's equal, but everyone just has a different mentality. We're all going to end up at the same place at the end of time, all of eternity.
Well, wait. Let me stop you there though. When you say, because I know in the comments they're going to be like, well, what does she really mean by different levels? Like, what do you mean that we're not all equal? So
of consciousness and mentality.
Okay.
Of what you are aware of your awareness of self, really.
Would you say that, okay, the internet is not a true reflection of real life, right? Because a lot of times people will say things online that they would not say in person, like like racist rhetoric and things like that, right? Like, I've experienced more racism online as opposed to racism in person. You know what I'm saying?
In person, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? What is it? Because in person, you've not really experienced anything from Black people, right?
A little bit after Black Lives Matter in person, I noticed the temperature change, and but they're not as audacious as they are online. Online, because someone's not in front of you, you can easily, and it's fast. You're not even using tone and resonance, so it's cheap. It's a cheaper way of communicating.
Okay, well, what do you think about the belief that Black people cannot be racist because you have to be in a position of power to be racist?
One, racism isn't even real. Everyone's just prejudice.
Okay, explain the difference between the two.
Really, it's human issues that happen between two people of a different race. And all of a sudden, because of that altercation, they now they now create a derogatory word for their identity, right? And then now generalize everybody because of the one altercation or the couple altercations with that specific person in that race. And it's really at the core of it, it's just prejudice. And that's how racism started, And then we want to go back to slave, it's history. I mean, Africa sold a lot of their people here. There were Blacks that were already here. There were Moors here that were not slaves. During slave times, not all Black people were slaves, because there were people that were from this country. So there were free Black people, but then there were the Black slaves that were sold by Africa. And even I'll tell you, back in 2003, my dad preached at the largest church in Lagos, Nigeria, right? 1 million members. And he was staying at the home of one of the pastors there. And my dad tried giving the servants of the home money, and the pastor scolded him. The African pastor, he said, "Don't you dare give my servants money." My dad was like, "I'm just trying to help him out," So that mentality still exists over there. People don't realize. People in America don't know that. So that piece of history is not told. You know what I mean? And it's not, Blacks didn't sell their own Blacks because they were Black. It's because of money and class. And then they were brought here, and then it was just a number of them. And then stuff was happening politically. And then that's when Abraham Lincoln was like, well, I think I could probably get a number of voters if I free the Black people, if I free the slaves. So I'll get more voters. And that's how that all happened. It wasn't because of race. It was a political agenda.
Well, wouldn't you say, though, that you always hear people in other countries say that in America, race relations are so much worse than it is in the rest of the world?
Yeah, because that was the agenda for this country. For a divide. It's the best way to divide. The best way to divide.